Sir, you need to move. This seat belongs to a real premium passenger, not someone who, well, you understand. Please collect your belongings immediately. Flight attendant. Stephanie's voice cuts through the first-class cabin like a blade. She points dismissively at the man in seat 1A, her gesture sharp and theatrical. Behind her, a well-dressed white passenger taps his foot impatiently, arms crossed in righteous indignation. Terrell Washington sits calmly, Wall Street Journal folded in his lap. His tailored suit, Italian leather shoes, and quiet confidence should speak for themselves. But Stephanie sees only what she wants to see. "There's obviously been some kind of mistake with the seating system," she announces loudly, ensuring every passenger hears her judgment. The white passenger, Richard, smirks. "Finally, someone with sense. I knew that the seat assignment couldn't be right." Terrell's hands remain steady. His jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Around them, phones emerge like flowers turning toward sunlight. Have you ever been treated like an imposter in a space you rightfully occupied, while strangers decided your worth based on your appearance? Part 2. Inciting Bias. 1,000 words. 1:23 p.m. 37 minutes before takeoff. Stephanie's performance escalates with the precision of someone who's done this before. She positions herself directly in front of Terrell's seat, blocking his view of the aisle while ensuring maximum visibility for her audience. "Sir, I'm going to need to see your boarding pass and the credit card used for purchase." Her voice carries the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed without question. Premium seats require verification of legitimate purchase. Richard steps closer, his platinum status pin glinting under the cabin lights. "I fly this route twice monthly. I've never seen this kind of confusion before." His pause drips with implication. Terrell reaches into his jacket pocket with deliberate calm. His boarding pass emerges crisp and unmarked. First class, seat 1A, purchased 3 weeks ago. He extends it toward Stephanie without a word. She snatches it like evidence of a crime, holding it up to the light as if examining currency. "This could be fraudulent. We've had issues with certain passengers using false documentation." Her eyes narrow as she tilts the pass back and forth. The printing quality looks suspicious. A young black woman in seat 2B pulls out her phone. "Excuse me, but this is insane. I'm recording this." Her voice shakes with barely contained anger. She opens Instagram Live, her viewer count immediately climbing. 23, 67, 156 viewers. "Ma'am, please put your device away," Stephanie snaps without taking her eyes off Terrell's boarding pass. "This is an internal airline matter." "This is discrimination, and I'm documenting it," the woman responds. Her live stream title reads, "Airline Racism Happening Now, First Class Discrimination." Richard's impatience grows more theatrical. "Look, I have a critical conference in Seattle. Can we just resolve this? I'm platinum status. I should have priority seating rights anyway." Terrell's briefcase sits beside him, the embossed Washington Capital Group logo barely visible on the supple leather. His Wall Street Journal lies open to the business section, a headline visible. "SkyTech Airlines $500 merger vote scheduled for today." His phone buzzes insistently. The screen shows, "Board members arriving for emergency vote, 2:00 p.m. He glances at the message, then silences the device with practiced efficiency. "Sir," Stephanie's voice grows louder, more commanding, "I'm still waiting for your credit card verification. Premium purchases require additional authentication for..." She searches for diplomatic language. "For security purposes." The discriminatory implications hang in the recycled air like smoke. Around them, other first-class passengers shift uncomfortably. Some avert their eyes, complicit in their silence. Others lean forward, phones emerging, sensing something significant unfolding. An elderly white woman in 3A whispers to her husband, "This doesn't seem right." But she makes no move to intervene. Terrell finally speaks, his voice calm as still water. "What specific security concerns does my appearance raise?" The question cuts through Stephanie's prepared script. She fumbles for words. It's not about... we have standard procedures. Standard procedures that single me out specifically? Terrell's tone remains conversational, but steel underlies every syllable. Are you requiring credit card verification from other passengers? Richard interjects quickly. This isn't about race. It's about airline policy and seating protocols. Is it? Terrell's gaze shifts to Richard, steady and unblinking. Tell me more about these protocols. When did you last show your credit card for seat verification? Richard's face reddens. That's different. I'm a platinum member. The airline knows me. They know you because you're white, or because you fly frequently? The question lands like a physical blow. Richard's mouth opens and closes without sound. The live stream viewer count hits 1,200, comments pouring in faster than anyone can read. This is insane! Get his name! Sue them! Stephanie realizes she's losing control of the narrative. Sir, we can resolve this quickly if you just cooperate. I can upgrade you to first class on the next available flight. Upgrade me to the seat I already purchased? Terrell's eyebrows rise slightly. How generous. The gate agent's voice crackles over the intercom. Flight 892 to Seattle will begin final boarding in 30 minutes. All passengers should be at the gate. Richard's agitation peaks. Just move him already. I have a presentation at 4 p.m. This delay is costing me money. Stephanie nods, emboldened by his support. Sir, if you don't comply voluntarily, I'll have to call security. We can't delay departure for other passengers. Terrell's phone buzzes again. This time the message reads, SkyTech merger documents ready for signature, awaiting your approval. He glances at it, then at Stephanie's name tag. The irony isn't lost on him. She works for the very airline his company is about to acquire. You'll call security, he repeats slowly, as if tasting the words. For a passenger sitting quietly in his purchased seat, reading a newspaper. For a passenger disrupting airline operations and refusing to follow crew instructions. Stephanie corrects, her voice rising for the benefit of her growing audience. What instructions have I refused? Another pause. Another fumble. Stephanie's script doesn't account for someone who responds with questions instead of compliance or anger. Terrell stands slowly, his full height commanding. He folds his Wall Street Journal with precise movements, places it in his briefcase beside documents marked Confidential, SkyTech Acquisition. I'll remember this interaction very clearly, he says quietly. Every word, every gesture, every assumption. Something in his tone makes Stephanie hesitate. There's no anger, no bluster, just the quiet certainty of someone who has never learned to doubt his own power. Sir, please don't make this more difficult than it needs to be, she says, but her voice wavers slightly. Terrell's smile contains no warmth. Stephanie, you have no idea how difficult this is about to become. 1:31 p.m., 29 minutes before takeoff. Gate manager Patricia Reynolds strides down the jetway like cavalry arriving at a battlefield. Her 20-year tenure with SkyTech Airlines shows in every confident step. She's handled difficult passengers before, or so she believes. What's the situation here? Patricia demands, her voice carrying corporate authority. She surveys the scene. Recording devices, agitated passengers, a crew member clearly out of her depth. Stephanie launches into rapid explanation. We have a passenger in seat 1A who won't provide proper verification for his first-class ticket. He's being non-compliant and disruptive. Non-compliant how? Patricia asks, though her tone suggests she's already chosen sides. Well, Stephanie fumbles. The actual facts don't support her narrative when stated plainly. Richard seizes the moment. I'm a platinum member. I fly this route monthly for business. There's clearly been a seating error. He gestures dismissively toward Terrell. Some people just don't understand airline hierarchy. The live stream count exploded. 2,847 viewers. Comments flood faster than anyone can process. This is racist. Get their names. Sue the airline. The viewer recording adjusts her angle to capture Patricia's face clearly. Sir, Patricia addresses Terrell with practiced diplomacy. Our Platinum members do have certain priority privileges. If there's been a booking conflict, we can certainly accommodate you on our next available flight with full compensation. Terrell's response comes soft but cutting. There's no booking conflict. There's a discrimination problem. The words hang in the cabin air like an accusation no one can ignore. Patricia's corporate smile flickers. Around them, passengers lean forward, sensing the confrontation reaching a tipping point. Sir, that's a serious allegation, Patricia warns. I'd be careful about making unfounded claims. Would you? Terrell's tone remains conversational. What foundation would satisfy you? The recorded evidence? The witness testimony? Or do you need something more specific? His phone buzzes insistently. The screen shows multiple missed calls from SkyTech Board Secretary. He glances at the messages. Vote delayed pending your arrival. Merger documents require immediate signature. Patricia notices his expensive phone, the quality of his suit, the confident way he holds himself. Doubt creeps into her expression. Sir, can you tell me what you do for work? I solve problems, Terrell replies simply, usually involving underperforming assets and discriminatory practices. The ambiguity is intentional, designed to create uncertainty. Patricia exchanges glances with Stephanie, both women suddenly less certain of their ground. Richard's impatience reaches theatrical levels. This is ridiculous. I have a presentation at 4 p.m. that could make or break a $20 million contract. Every minute we waste here costs me money. 20 million, Terrell repeats thoughtfully. That's significant. His tone suggests it's barely worth mentioning. The observation lands strangely. Richard's bluster deflates slightly. Who discusses $20 million like pocket change? Security officers appear at the aircraft entrance. Officers Martinez and Parker, responding to Stephanie's earlier call. Their presence transforms the atmosphere from uncomfortable to dangerous. Ma'am, we got a call about a disruptive passenger? Officer Martinez surveys the scene, taking in the recording devices and tense faces. Yes, Stephanie points toward Terrell. He's refusing to comply with seating instructions and making allegations against crew members. Officer Parker pulls out his incident report tablet. Sir, can you explain your version of events? I'm sitting in my purchased seat reading a newspaper. The crew demanded additional verification based on... Terrell pauses meaningfully. Their assessment of my appearance. That's not what happened, Richard interjects. There was a seating conflict. Platinum members have priority. Show me that policy in writing, Terrell challenges quietly. Silence. No one produces documentation because no such policy exists. The captain's voice crackles over the intercom. Flight crew, we need departure clearance in 20 minutes. Please expedite any remaining boarding issues. Patricia feels the pressure of schedule, passengers, and corporate liability converging. Sir, in the interest of time, we can resolve this by relocating you to another excellent seat. No. The single word stops all conversation. Terrell doesn't raise his voice, doesn't gesture dramatically. The quiet finality carries more power than shouting. Sir, if you don't cooperate, we'll have to remove you from the aircraft, Officer Martinez warns reluctantly. Terrell stands slowly, gathering his briefcase. For a moment, everyone believes the confrontation is ending. Then he pauses at the aircraft door, pulls out his phone, and makes a call that changes everything. David, it's Terrell. Cancel the SkyTech merger vote immediately. Stephanie's face goes white. Cancel what vote? Richard demands. Who are you calling? What merger? But Terrell isn't finished. Execute full divestiture of all SkyTech holdings. Market sell effective immediately. And David, file the federal discrimination complaint we discussed. We have multiple witnesses and video evidence. The cabin erupts in confused murmurs. Patricia's radio crackles urgently. Gate 23, we're receiving emergency calls from corporate headquarters. What's your status? I don't know, Patricia stammers into her radio. We have a passenger situation, but... Officer Martinez steps forward cautiously. Sir, who are you calling? What merger are you discussing? Terrell ends his call, turns to face the crowd. His entire demeanor shifts from defensive to commanding. The transformation is subtle but unmistakable, like watching someone remember they're in charge. Stephanie, Richard, Patricia, he addresses each by name, his voice carrying new authority. You've just participated in something that will cost SkyTech Airlines significantly more than a first-class seat. What are you talking about? Richard's voice cracks slightly. Terrell reaches into his briefcase, withdraws a business card. He doesn't hand it over immediately, just holds it between two fingers like a weapon. The $20 million contract you mentioned, Richard, that's impressive. His smile contains no warmth. My company was about to finalize a $500 million investment in this airline. Past tense. The number hits like a physical blow. Richard stumbles backward. Stephanie grabs the nearest seat for support. Patricia's radio explodes with frantic chatter from corporate headquarters. 500 million? Officer Parker repeats weakly. Million, Terrell confirms. As of 3 minutes ago, Washington Capital Group initiated full liquidation of our SkyTech Airlines position. Stock sales, bond calls, merger cancellation, everything. The live stream audience peaks at 8,000 viewers. Comments blur past. Plot twist. He's an investor. SkyTech is about to crash. Patricia fumbles with her radio. Operations, I need immediate executive contact. We have a situation involving major investor relations. But Terrell's phone is ringing again. This time he answers on speaker, ensuring everyone hears. Mr. Washington, this is Robert Parker, CEO of SkyTech Airlines. I understand there's been an incident on Flight 892. The cabin could hear a pin drop. Stephanie's face drains of all colors. Richard's mouth opens and closes silently. Patricia looks like she might faint. Yes, Robert. Terrell's voice carries boardroom authority now. Your crew has provided an excellent demonstration of why our investment committee had concerns about SkyTech's operational culture. Mr. Washington, please, if there's been a misunderstanding, no misunderstanding. Your employees saw a black man in first class and immediately assumed fraud. The discrimination is well documented by multiple witnesses. Through the phone, Robert Parker's breathing becomes audible. Sir, whatever happened, we can make this right. Please don't let this affect our business relationship. Terrell looks directly at Stephanie, whose career just evaporated in real time. Robert, that decision has already been made. 1:37 p.m., 23 minutes before takeoff. The phone conversation continues on speaker, each word falling like hammers on the crew's careers. Robert Parker's voice carries the desperation of a CEO watching his company's future dissolve in real time. Mr. Washington, please, let's discuss this rationally. Whatever our staff did wrong, we can correct it immediately. Terrell's business card finally emerges fully from his briefcase. He holds it up for the recording devices to capture. Terrell Washington, Chief Executive Officer, Washington Capital Group. The gold embossing catches the cabin lights like a blade. Robert, rationality would have been treating your customers with dignity regardless of their skin color. Terrell's voice remains calm, but steel runs through every syllable. What happened here wasn't an isolated incident. It was institutional bias in action. Stephanie finds her voice, though it emerges as barely a whisper. You can't really be a CEO. The statement hangs in the air like smoke from a crashed plane. Around the cabin, passengers lean forward, recording devices capturing every moment of her professional destruction. Can't be? Terrell's eyebrows rise slightly. Because I'm black? Because I don't fit your mental image of executive power? Richard, still processing the magnitude of his miscalculation, stammers, But $500 million? That's impossible. Nobody just carries that kind of money around. Terrell's smile contains no warmth. Richard, I don't carry money around. I move it. Washington Capital Group manages $12 billion in assets. Our SkyTech position was modest by our standards, until today. The numbers hit like physical blows. Patricia's legs buckle. She grabs the nearest seat for support. Officer Martinez takes a step backward, suddenly uncertain who should be protecting whom. Through the phone, Robert Parker's voice cracks. Mr. Washington, our board will convene immediately. Whatever remedial action you require. The remedial action required was basic human decency, Terrell interrupts. Your crew failed that test spectacularly. The live stream count exploded past 15,000 viewers. Major news outlets begin picking up the feed. SkyTech scandal starts trending nationally alongside #BlackCEOPower. Stephanie makes a desperate attempt at damage control. Mr. Washington, sir, I sincerely apologize. I made a terrible mistake. I was just following standard procedures. Standard procedures that target black passengers specifically. Terrell's question cuts through her explanation. Show me those procedures in writing. Silence. No such procedures exist, at least not officially. Patricia's radio explodes with urgent chatter. Gate 23, we have media calls flooding the switchboard. The stock price is dropping. We need immediate crisis management protocols. Officer Parker clears his throat nervously. Mr. Washington, how should we proceed with this situation? You should start by removing your hand from your weapon, Terrell observes quietly. I'm not the threat here. Institutional racism is the threat. Officer Parker realizes his hand has indeed drifted toward his baton. He steps back, both officers suddenly aware they're being live-streamed while appearing to threaten a prominent black CEO. The captain's voice returns over the intercom, noticeably different in tone. This is Captain Rodriguez. Mr. Washington, I need to speak with you immediately regarding our flight operations and corporate instructions. Richard makes one final desperate play. Look, this is all blown out of proportion. I just wanted my assigned seat. There's no racism here, just standard airline confusion. Terrell turns his full attention to Richard for the first time. Standard confusion that assumes black passengers commit fraud? Standard confusion that demands additional verification from me, but not from you. I didn't say anything about race. You didn't have to. Terrell's voice drops to conversational level, which somehow makes it more devastating. You said some people don't understand airline hierarchy. You implied I don't belong in first class. Your meaning was crystal clear. The live stream audience reaches 20,000 viewers. Comments pour in faster than servers can handle. Drag him! This is justice! Richard is about to learn today! Terrell's phone buzzes with urgent messages. He glances at the screen. CNN requesting immediate interview. Federal Aviation Administration opening investigation. Stock down 12% in after-hours trading. He shows the phone to the recording devices, ensuring the audience sees the messages. These are the real-time consequences of discrimination in the digital age. Your behavior doesn't exist in a vacuum anymore. Patricia desperately tries to salvage the situation. Mr. Washington, if we could discuss this privately. Privately? Terrell's laugh carries no humor. You made this public when you discriminated against me in front of dozens of witnesses. We'll resolve it publicly, too. Through the phone, Robert Parker makes another attempt. Sir, we're prepared to offer significant compensation for this misunderstanding. Compensation for what misunderstanding? Terrell's tone sharpens. Are you suggesting your employees were confused about my race, confused about basic human dignity? No, sir, that's not what I meant. Then what exactly are you compensating me for? Be specific. The question traps Robert Parker in an impossible position. Acknowledging discrimination opens legal liability. Denying it contradicts the recorded evidence. Stephanie breaks down completely. Mr. Washington, please. I have 3 children. I need this job. I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. Your children deserve better than a mother who teaches them that skin color determines human worth. Terrell's voice carries devastating calm. Your apology isn't to me. It's to every black passenger you've humiliated before today. The words land like physical blows. Stephanie's crying becomes audible sobs that echo through the cabin. Terrell continues, his voice gaining strength. Richard, you mentioned not understanding airline hierarchy. Let me clarify the hierarchy for you. Washington Capital Group invested $487 million in SkyTech Airlines 6 months ago. That investment is what funded your precious Platinum Benefits program. Richard's face goes ashen. What are you saying? I'm saying your Platinum status exists because of my money. Your priority seating, your expedited check-in, your complimentary upgrades, all funded by the black man you just tried to have removed from first class. The irony hits like a sledgehammer. Richard stumbles backward, grabbing the bulkhead for support. Terrell opens his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard with practiced efficiency. Let me show you some real numbers. Washington Capital Group, $12.3 billion assets under management. SkyTech investment, $487 million across equity stakes and convertible debt instruments. He turns the screen toward the recording devices, ensuring the live stream captures the financial documents. Current market capitalization of SkyTech Airlines, $4.2 billion. Our position represents 11.6% equity ownership. The numbers stun everyone into silence. Patricia's radio crackles again. Gate 23, we have an emergency board meeting called. All senior executives converge immediately. That's interesting timing, Terrell observes. Robert, are you calling an emergency board meeting? Through the phone. Yes, sir. We need to address this situation immediately. Good. Because I have some demands. The word demands changes the entire dynamic. Stephanie stops crying. Richard's desperate appeals die in his throat. Patricia focuses on Terrell like her career depends on it. Because it does. First, Terrell continues, immediate termination of all crew members involved in today's discrimination. Non-negotiable. Mr. Washington? Stephanie begins. Second, he cuts her off, comprehensive bias training for all customer-facing staff, not online modules, intensive, in-person programs conducted by qualified consultants. Patricia frantically takes notes on her tablet. Third, body cameras for all passenger interactions, real-time monitoring, cloud storage, third-party oversight. Sir, Robert Parker's voice wavers through the phone. These changes would cost millions. Less than you'll lose in lawsuits and lost business if this behavior continues, Terrell responds. Fourth, monthly diversity audits with results published publicly. Full transparency. The live stream count hits 25,000. Major news networks scramble to contact Terrell's office. The story spreads across social media like wildfire. Fifth and final, customer complaint escalation system. Any discrimination allegation goes directly to executive level within 24 hours. No more middle management cover-ups. He closes the laptop with decisive finality. Those are my terms, Robert. Full implementation within 90 days, or Washington Capital Group divests entirely and publishes a detailed report on why we consider SkyTech Airlines an unsuitable investment due to institutional racism. Through the phone, Robert Parker's breathing becomes labored. Mr. Washington, these changes would revolutionize our entire operation. They would bring your operation into the 21st century, Terrell corrects. The choice is yours, Robert. Evolve or lose nearly $500 million in investment capital. Officer Martinez clears his throat. Mr. Washington, how would you like us to proceed regarding the initial complaint? File a report documenting everything you witnessed. Include the video evidence. Send copies to the FAA, the Department of Transportation, and the FBI Civil Rights Division. Patricia's face goes white. The FBI? Civil rights violations in interstate commerce fall under federal jurisdiction, Terrell explains calmly. Today's discrimination potentially violates multiple federal statutes. His phone rings again. He answers the speaker. David, What's our status? Terrell, the media is exploding. CNN, MSNBC, Fox Business all requested immediate interviews. SkyTech stock down 18% in after-hours trading. The story's gone viral. Good. Schedule interviews for tomorrow morning. Make sure they understand this isn't personal. It's about systemic change. He ends the call, looks directly at the livestream camera being held by the passenger in 2B. Ladies and gentlemen watching this unfold, remember, economic pressure creates change faster than moral appeals. Today, discrimination became too expensive for SkyTech Airlines to ignore. The aircraft door opens. Captain Rodriguez appears, his uniform crisp but his face pale with stress. Mr. Washington, I've received direct orders from corporate headquarters. Whatever you need to make this right, whatever accommodations, whatever changes, we're authorized to implement immediately. Terrell stands, his full height commanding the cabin's attention. For the first time since this ordeal began, he allows himself a small smile. Captain, the only accommodation I need is basic human dignity. Everything else is negotiable. 1:45 p.m., 15 minutes before takeoff. The aircraft transforms into an impromptu boardroom as Terrell's phone conference with SkyTech's executive team begins. Captain Rodriguez patches the call through the aircraft's PA system, ensuring every word reaches the growing digital audience. The live stream count reaches 35,000 viewers. Mr. Washington, this is Jennifer Liu, Chief Operating Officer, a crisp voice announces through the speakers. We have our entire C-suite on this call, along with legal counsel. Terrell opens his laptop, pulling up real-time financial data. Jennifer, excellent. Let's discuss numbers since that's the language corporations understand best. His fingers dance across the keyboard with surgical precision. SkyTech Airlines reported $4.7 billion in revenue last year. Customer satisfaction ratings, 2.4 out of 5 stars. Industry average, 3.6 stars. Your company consistently ranks in the bottom quartile for passenger experience. Patricia scribbles notes frantically, her career hanging on every data point. Stephanie sits frozen, finally understanding the magnitude of what she's triggered. Now, discrimination-specific metrics, Terrell continues, his voice carrying boardroom authority. Discrimination complaints filed against SkyTech last year, 847. Industry average for airlines of comparable size, 234. You're running 262% above industry standard for bias incidents. Through the speakers, uncomfortable silence from the executive team. Then Jennifer Liu's voice, carefully controlled. Mr. Washington, where did you obtain internal complaint data? Due diligence files from our investment evaluation, Terrell responds smoothly. Washington Capital Group doesn't invest $487 million without comprehensive operational audits. Your discrimination problem was flagged 6 months ago as a material business risk. Richard, still processing his spectacular miscalculation, finds his voice. You knew about the problems and invested anyway? Terrell's gaze shifts to Richard with something approaching pity. We invested believing management would address systemic issues. Today's incident proves that belief was misplaced. The phone crackles as someone joins the call. Mr. Washington, this is David Morrison, SkyTech's Chief Financial Officer. Can we discuss the financial impact of your concerns? Certainly, David. Let's start with settlement costs. Terrell pulls up another spreadsheet. SkyTech paid $23.7 million in discrimination settlements last year. Average per incident, $28,000. Today's incident, with live documentation and viral distribution, will likely exceed $2 million in exposure. The numbers hit like artillery shells. Patricia's tablet slips from her hands. Officer Martinez exchanges glances with Officer Parker, both men realizing they nearly participated in a multi-million-dollar liability event. Furthermore, Terrell continues, stock price has dropped 18% since this live stream began. Market cap decline, approximately $756 million. My investment is down $87 million in the past 30 minutes. Through the speakers, David Morrison's voice cracks. Sir, we're prepared to discuss immediate remedial measures. Good, because I have specific requirements. Terrell's tone brooks no negotiation. First, immediate implementation of bias prevention protocols. Cost estimate, $15.2 million annually. $15 million? Jennifer Liu's voice rises. That's a significant operational expense. Compare it to last year's $23.7 million in settlements, plus today's $756 million market cap loss. Bias prevention is profitable, Jennifer. The live stream chat explodes with comments. He's destroying them with facts. This is how you use privilege. Math doesn't lie. Terrell continues his systematic dismantling. Second, body cameras for all customer service interactions. Implementation cost, $8.4 million. Annual maintenance, $2.1 million. Compare that to the legal exposure you're currently facing. Patricia's radio crackles. Gate 23, we have federal investigators requesting passenger manifests and crew records. This is escalating beyond corporate level. Federal investigators, Terrell repeats thoughtfully. Jennifer, are you aware that the Department of Transportation has opened a formal investigation into SkyTech's customer service practices? Silence. Then Jennifer Liu's voice, tight with stress. We weren't informed of any federal involvement. You are now. DOT investigators are requesting complete records of discrimination complaints, settlement agreements, and training protocols. Terrell's fingers continue their keyboard dance. They're particularly interested in repeat offender patterns among staff members. Stephanie's sobbing resumes as the implications sink in. Her pattern of discriminatory behavior is about to become federal evidence. Third requirement, Terrell continues relentlessly, executive accountability measures. Any manager whose department generates discrimination complaints faces immediate performance review. Multiple incidents result in termination. Mr. Washington, David Morrison interrupts, union contracts make immediate termination difficult. Then renegotiate the contracts, Terrell's voice sharpens. Your executives, execute. His phone buzzes with an urgent message. He glances at it, then addresses the call. I'm receiving real-time updates from CNN, MSNBC, and Fox Business. This story is going national in the next news cycle. Your window for proactive response is closing rapidly. Through the speakers, hurried whispers and keyboard clicking. The SkyTech executive team scrambles to contain a crisis that's already escaped their control. Fourth requirement, monthly diversity audits conducted by external firms. Results published on your website within 48 hours of completion. Full transparency. No editorial control. Published audits? Jennifer Liu sounds horrified. That level of transparency could damage our competitive position. Your competitive position is already damaged, Terrell observes. Transparency demonstrates commitment to change. Secrecy suggests you're hiding ongoing problems. Captain Rodriguez approaches respectfully. Mr. Washington, we're receiving updated corporate instructions. All crew changes, policy implementations, whatever you require, we have unlimited authority to comply. Unlimited authority, Terrell repeats. Interesting. Who authorized that level of decision-making? Through the phone. Mr. Washington, this is Robert Parker. I've personally authorized all necessary changes to resolve this situation. Robert, we spoke earlier. Have you reconsidered the severity of today's discrimination? Yes, sir. We understand this represents a fundamental failure of our corporate culture. Terrell's smile contains no warmth. Excellent. Then you'll understand my final requirement. Customer complaint escalation system. Any discrimination allegation bypasses middle management, goes directly to C-suite level within 24 hours. Direct C-suite involvement in individual complaints? David Morrison sounds panicked. That could overwhelm executive schedules. David, If discrimination complaints overwhelm your schedule, you have bigger problems than schedule management. Terrell's tone could freeze water. Executive attention should focus on preventing discrimination, not managing its aftermath. The live stream audience peaks at 50,000 viewers. News outlets scramble to contact aviation industry experts for analysis. Hatched SkyTech accountability trends nationally. Implementation timeline, Terrell continues. 90 days for full deployment. Progress reports every 30 days. First external audit in 60 days. Non-compliance triggers immediate divestiture. Through the phone, Jennifer Liu's voice wavers. Mr. Washington, 90 days seems aggressive for such comprehensive changes. Jennifer, you've had years to address systemic bias. 90 days is generous. His fingers pause over the keyboard. Alternative timeline. Washington Capital Group initiates hostile takeover proceedings tomorrow morning. We strip SkyTech of assets and sell profitable routes to competitors. The threat lands like a nuclear bomb. Complete silence from the executive team. Patricia's face goes white as fresh snow. Even the live stream comments pause momentarily. Hostile takeover, Robert Parker repeats weakly. Complete corporate restructuring, Terrell confirms. New management, new policies, new culture. Or voluntary compliance with my requirements. Your choice, Robert. His phone buzzes again. Federal investigators requesting immediate interview. Media circus forming outside headquarters. The federal investigation is accelerating, Terrell announces. DOT investigators want to interview me within the hour. My testimony will include today's incident as evidence of institutional bias patterns. Mr. Washington, Jennifer Liu's voice carries desperation. What guarantees do we have that compliance will prevent divestiture? You have my word that comprehensive reform will maintain our business relationship. You have no guarantees about federal investigation outcomes. Terrell checks his watch. You have 10 minutes to provide formal acceptance of all requirements. 10 minutes? David Morrison protests. We need board approval for changes this significant. David, your board sold me controlling influence when they accepted my investment. These aren't requests. They're corporate directives from your largest institutional investor. The power dynamic crystallizes completely. Terrell isn't just an aggrieved customer. He's effectively their boss. 5 minutes remaining, he announces calmly. Jennifer, I need verbal commitment to all 5 requirements on this recorded call. Through the speakers, frantic whispers and urgent typing. Then Jennifer Liu's voice, defeated. Mr. Washington, SkyTech Airlines formally accepts all proposed requirements. Full implementation within 90 days. Excellent. David, prepare contracts reflecting these commitments. Robert, schedule an emergency press conference for tomorrow morning. You'll announce comprehensive anti-discrimination initiatives. He closes the laptop with decisive finality. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how systemic change occurs. Not through anger or violence, but through economic pressure and public accountability. The live stream audience erupts in digital celebration. Justice served in real time, broadcast live to 50,000 witnesses. 6 weeks later, SkyTech Airlines corporate headquarters. The transformation at SkyTech Airlines unfolds with the precision of a military operation. In the gleaming conference room overlooking Seattle's skyline, the monthly progress review reveals numbers that would have seemed impossible 2 months earlier. Implementation Status Report, announces Dr. Keisha Williams, SkyTech's newly appointed Chief Diversity Officer. Her hire represents the first tangible change following Terrell's ultimatum. Body camera deployment, 94% complete across all major hubs. 0 discrimination complaints since activation. Robert Parker sits at the head of the mahogany table, flanked by executives whose careers depend on successful reform execution. The live stream that destroyed their reputation now serves as a case study in corporate accountability. Customer satisfaction scores? Parker inquires, though he already knows the answer will reshape his understanding of business fundamentals. Up 47% since policy implementation, reports Customer Experience Director Maria Santos, promoted after her professional conduct during the original incident. We've processed 2,347 customer interactions under the new protocols. Satisfaction rating, 4.3 out of 5 stars. The numbers represent more than statistical improvement. They quantify Dignity's economic value. Jennifer Liu, still adjusting to her reduced authority, provides financial updates. Discrimination-related legal expenses down 89%, settlement costs 0 for 6 consecutive weeks. Through video conference, Terrell participates remotely from Washington Capital Group's Chicago headquarters. His presence transforms routine corporate meetings into accountability sessions. Federal investigation status? Terrell asks. DOT completed their comprehensive audit last week, Parker responds, consulting notes that chronicle his company's resurrection. They found substantial improvement in all measured categories. The investigation is transitioning from punitive to advisory status. The federal scrutiny, initially terrifying, became SkyTech's salvation. Department of Transportation oversight forced systematic changes that improved operations across every metric. Dr. Williams continues her report. Staff bias training completion rate, 100% for customer-facing roles. We've identified and addressed unconscious bias patterns in 78% of participants. The most significant improvements occurred among staff who initially scored highest on implicit bias assessments. Stephanie Martinez and Richard Henderson became inadvertent symbols of institutional transformation. Stephanie, after her termination, enrolled in comprehensive bias counseling and now speaks at diversity training sessions. Her journey from perpetrator to advocate demonstrates that deep-seated prejudice can change with commitment and education. What about the scholarship program? Terrell inquires. The Washington Capital Aviation Diversity Scholarship launched 3 weeks ago, Dr. Williams reports. Full funding for 50 students annually to pursue careers in aviation management. Applications exceeded projections by 340%. First recipients begin coursework next semester. But the most profound changes extend beyond corporate boardrooms into industry culture. The incident, now studied in business schools as the SkyTech transformation, sparked similar reforms across the aviation sector. Industry response? Terrell continues his systematic review. 7 major airlines have implemented similar protocols, Parker admits. Delta, United, American, Southwest, JetBlue, Alaska, and Spirit all adopted variations of our bias prevention systems. They're calling it the Washington Protocol. The irony isn't lost on anyone. Discriminatory treatment of one black CEO triggered industry-wide reform benefiting millions of passengers. Financial metrics tell the most compelling story. Chief Financial Officer David Morrison, his voice steady despite the stress of recent months, presents numbers that validate Terrell's economic arguments. Implementation costs totaled $18.3 million, tracking 12% under budget projections. Revenue impact? Terrell asks. Customer retention up 34%. New bookings among minority passengers increased 89%. Word-of-mouth marketing in previously underserved communities generated $67 million in additional revenue. Morrison pauses, still processing the implications. Bias prevention proved profitable beyond our most optimistic projections. The original live stream, viewed over 4.2 million times, continues generating positive publicity. Comments celebrate systematic change. This is how you create real reform. Every company should study this. Economic pressure works. Dr. Williams adds crucial context. We've shared our training protocols with 12 other industries. Hotels, restaurants, retail chains, and healthcare systems all requested consultation on implementing similar programs. The ripple effect extends far beyond aviation. These black stories, these real-life stories, these touching stories of quiet power confronting institutional bias inspired accountability movements across corporate America. Stock performance? Parker asks, though market data already tells the story. Share price recovered fully and gained 23% above pre-incident levels, Morrison reports. Market analysts cite our diversity initiatives as competitive advantages. ESG investors specifically target SkyTech for portfolio inclusion. Environmental, social, and governance investment criteria now favor companies with documented bias prevention systems. Discrimination became not just morally wrong, but financially disadvantageous. Terrell's voice carries satisfaction through the video conference. Robert, has the board voted on permanent policy adoption? Unanimous approval last week. All reform measures are now permanent corporate policy embedded in our operational DNA. Parker glances at his legal team. We've also established the SkyTech Dignity Foundation, providing legal support for discrimination victims across all industries. The transformation from perpetrator to advocate represents corporate evolution's most powerful form. Real change, they learned, requires constant vigilance and systematic accountability. Justice implemented, measured quarterly, sustained indefinitely. 1 year later, the legacy continues. Terrell Washington's story became more than viral content. It became a masterclass in strategic accountability. The original live stream, now viewed over 12.8 million times, transformed from entertainment into education, spawning what Harvard Business School calls the economic justice movement. The SkyTech incident proved that sustained change requires economic consequences, not just moral arguments. Within 12 months, 17 major corporations adopted similar bias prevention protocols. Hotels, restaurants, retail chains, and healthcare systems all requested consultation on implementing Washington-style accountability measures. Stephanie Martinez completed her transformation from discriminator to advocate. Now Director of Inclusion Training at the National Diversity Institute, she addresses corporate audiences nationwide. I was that person, she tells executives during mandatory bias training sessions. I made assumptions based on skin color because no one challenged me to examine my prejudices. Mr. Washington could have destroyed me completely. Instead, he created an opportunity for me to become better. Her evolution demonstrates that even deeply ingrained bias can change when consequences create teachable moments. The live stream that ended her airline career launched her mission to prevent others from making similar mistakes. SkyTech Airlines became the industry's diversity leader, with customer satisfaction scores reaching 4.7 out of 5 stars. Employee retention improved 52%, as staff reported pride in working for an inclusive company. The economic argument proved irrefutable. Treating people with dignity generates measurable profit. Richard Henderson, the passenger who demanded Terrell's removal, issued a public apology 6 months later. His company, the one with the $20 million contract, lost a major client who cited Richard's behavior as incompatible with their corporate values. Economic consequences reached beyond the airplane cabin. Federal legislation inspired by the incident passed with bipartisan support. The Dignity in Commerce Act mandates bias training and incident reporting for all customer-facing businesses in interstate commerce. Real-life stories of discrimination now carry legal weight, creating federal accountability for institutional bias. The Global Dignity Initiative, Terrell's foundation, has handled 2,147 discrimination cases across 34 industries, achieving systemic change in 83% of interventions. Their model, documentation, economic pressure, public accountability, proves effective across sectors. Power without purpose creates temporary change, Terrell reflects during his recent TED Talk. Power with purpose creates permanent transformation. The goal isn't to punish individuals, it's to reform systems that enable discrimination. Social media continues amplifying similar life stories. #Dignity. In Business generates thousands of monthly posts from customers sharing both positive interactions and documenting bias. Digital accountability creates immediate consequences for discriminatory behavior. These touching stories of quiet strength confronting institutional prejudice inspire similar confrontations nationwide. Passengers document airline treatment fearlessly. Restaurant customers live stream discriminatory service. Retail shoppers record biased treatment. The tools for accountability are democratized. Your voice drives this movement forward. Have you experienced discrimination in business, travel, or daily interactions? Document it safely using your phone's camera. Share your experiences in the comments below. Support companies that prioritize dignity for all customers. These real-life stories create change when shared widely. Your experiences, whether as victim, witness, or ally, contribute to growing demand for systematic accountability. Subscribe to Black Voices Speak for more stories of strategic power creating institutional change. Share this video with friends who need to understand how individual courage transforms entire industries. Comment with your encounters with bias or moments when you stood up for others. Together, we're writing new chapters in ongoing Black stories of resilience, strategy, and victory. Justice isn't just served, it's systematized through your continued documentation and voice.